People hurting. People dying. It's all so fucking hysterical. Laugh with me!
And that is the first time in the series they ever use an F-bomb. I'm not sure if they ever use the word fuck ever again. I think that might be the first and only time. It's a little fun fact for you. This fight is over pretty quickly if you use lethal weapons like most boss fights are, but I do like this fight a lot, and I would prefer to have this boss fight last as long as possible because it is a lot of fun. So I'm just going to trank her. And also, every single time you trank one of the members of the Beauty and the Beast Corporation, they do leave behind a doll for you to collect. It's just one of the collectibles in the game. Completely optional, of course, but having said that, I am going to defeat Raiden Raven lethally because I hate that boss fight, and I'll want that boss fight to be over as quick as possible. I might go lethal for Crying Wolf when I think about it as well. So Laughing Octopus is the only boss fight I'll go non-lethal for.
It's no use.
Basically the pattern is shoot her a bunch of times. She has these generic attacks you would expect her to have, like shooting at you. She'll use her tentacles, of course, if you get too close. So just shoot her a bunch of times and then she'll hide. Find where she's hiding, then we'll go back to this, and then she'll hide again. Just rinse and repeat until it's over. Obviously the most fun part of the fight is trying to find her when she's hiding. There are some really clever places that she does hide. And when she starts to mimic the environment, that's a lot of fun as well, trying to locate her. These explosives, she leaves behind these mines as well. You can actually just roll into them. That deactivates them as well. Something it took me several playthroughs to figure out. Whoa, okay. I didn't succeed in deactivating that one. I did the other two though. She always leaves behind 3 mines every time she does the ink thing. Now, if you wanted to, you could just locate her using the radar or the solid eye. You can use the night vision goggles and she appears on the radar. Well, you can use whatever type of radar you want and she'll appear on it immediately. But I never do that because I feel as if it spoils the fun. A lot of the fun is obviously just trying to find her, so it just completely ruins the fight if you try to use the radar, I feel. Don't get me wrong, if you spend ages trying to find her and you can't find her, you might be getting a bit frustrated. I do understand using the radar in that situation, but you should at least try and find her without the radar. And right now I'm having a bit of trouble trying to find her. I'm guessing she's on the ceiling. I've scanned the floor. I think at this point in the fight she doesn't mimic the environment. She only starts mimicking the environments after you've gotten her health down a tiny bit more. But for now she just appears in really generic locations. Whoa. That's never happened before. I've never had that happen before. I didn't even know she can do that, like grab you by your throat like that. That's cool. Always learning something new about this game. Whoa, this rifle is actually very good. The only downside is the ammo for this gun is very expensive.
Snake, what's wrong? Answer me, please. Snake?
I can't say I die often on this boss fight. That was very unexpected. Whoa. Kind of embarrassed. Because I like never ever die in these boss fights, I was getting really cocky there, so I wasn't really paying attention to my health bar. It's a great fight anyway, so I don't mind dying and replaying it. It's like the Fury. Every time I die doing that boss fight, I'm actually kind of glad, because I want the fight to last as long as possible, because I really enjoy it. Oh, do those explosives kill the enemies? No, it doesn't. That guy still had the Zeds above his head, so I guess the explosions, they don't harm those sleeping guys. If I'm not mistaken, shooting her in the head doesn't do any extra damage, so you might as well just shoot her in the body. So about these, the bosses don't really have any personality, they're just these crazy ladies who were traumatized by war. Their backstories are the backstories are kind of like creepypastas. They are kind of interesting or cool to listen to, but at the same time, it doesn't really make them any more fascinating as characters. Because after hearing the first story, you're just waiting, you know that every single one of them is going to have some crazy, sick backstory to them. As opposed to Dead Cell or the Foxhound Squad, where you got to see them talk to each other, you got to see their personalities and motives shine through. So these guys are basically equivalent to the Cobra unit in terms of how one-dimensional they are. Although I do like the end, the Fury and the Sorrow, and the boss, of course. Basically, the Pain and the Fear are the only one-dimensional bosses in the Cobra unit. No, I see a lot of people give the Beauty and the Beast Corporation a lot of shit, talking about how boring they are as characters, but the Cobra unit are just as bad, in my opinion. Well, I only say that because of the Pain and the Fear, but the Fury and the End do have some kind of level of backstory to them. And of course the Sorrow and the boss are very, very well fleshed out. So, is she hiding right now? Oh, that's a great hiding place. Missing her, apparently. What if I use this? I'm not sure what part I'm supposed to shoot. Is the tranquilizer gun too soft to penetrate the box? What's going on here? I don't think I did any damage to her there. I do feel as if the bosses in this game are pretty much bullet sponges. When the bosses in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2 or 3, you were, like doing the fights, you were waiting for the perfect opportunity to fire a shot. But in this one, you're just constantly shooting at them. It doesn't feel like there's much of a strategy behind the boss fights in this game, in comparison to the first 3 games. Like I said, in those ones, it was more about waiting for the perfect opportunity to hit them. And I've already found her. She's the mannequin. That's one of the more clever hiding spots. They do show off that mannequin a lot during the cutscene as well, as if they're trying to hint. She does scare the shit out of me a lot as well when she jumps through the window. Whoa. No, don't below, don't below. So this is where she stops just standing there slightly invisible. Now she's actually mimicking the environment, which is when this boss fight gets really good.
Snake, come here!
It's pretty obvious what's going on here, but at the same time, even though it's obvious, I think it's awesome. I wonder what happens if you call Otacon. Does he mention anything about this?
Otacon, what's wrong? Why are you calling me over there?
Huh? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
It was you.
I'm telling you, I didn't call you. This is no time for jokes. You're supposed to be fighting Octopus. Come on.
Hey, Otacon. Otacon, what's wrong?
I'm telling you,
Hey.
So they just say the exact same thing. I feel, because the codec isn't as detailed in this game, I feel. If this was one of the previous 3 games, he would have said something different if you called him again.
Laugh at everything.
At this point, no matter what you say to her, she'll only respond one way.
The symptoms resemble those seen in Ganser syndrome. It's a type of dissociative disorder characterized by irrelevant responses to the situation at hand. It often manifests itself in soldiers under extreme battlefield stress.
You mean she's not having a good time out here?
I doubt it. I'm starting to wonder if she might not have some kind of deep-seated psychological trauma.
By the way, Rose pretty much says the exact same thing in every boss fight, so it's not really worth calling her. Except for the Screaming Mantis boss fight. That's when a cool little Easter egg pops up. And I could just shoot the Mark II, but I do like the response if you equip the Mark II. It's just the alert icon pops up, but I think that's pretty funny. If you did try to follow the Mark II, you would just run into mines. So at that point, she's basically trying to lure you into some mines. She's back to hiding again? I think, yeah. You can immediately tell that soldier isn't actually one of the soldiers because he doesn't have a Z, you know, the sleeping Zs above his head. And the only reason that helps is because I tranked all the other soldiers. If you actually killed all of the soldiers lethally, then the only way you could tell is by, well, remembering the locations of the soldiers, because you would think, yeah, that guy wasn't there before. Alternatively, you could just use the solid eye, of course, but as I always say, that spoils the fun. Another cool trick.
Naomi?
Again, it's really obvious, but regardless, it's a cool thing that they did. I wonder if Otacon has anything to say.
Snake, Octopus
No.
seems to work the same way.
And the thing is, if you call Otacon during the boss fights, he just has these really generic things to tell you. It's just not really interesting.
Here's another mimic! Watch out, Snake!
Okay, we better go on this, yeah. Every time she does that attack, you have to get on some high ground. It actually does quite a lot of damage to you. The cool thing about doing the big boss run is, because of course, doing the big boss run, you can't kill a single person. But when you are fighting the Beauty and the Beast Corporation in their suits, it doesn't count as a kill. So you can use lethal weapons while they are in their suits. Of course, when you fight them outside their suits, then you have to go non-lethal. But yeah, these boss fights aren't as hard as you think they would be on the big boss run, since they do allow you to use lethal weapons. And while the characters are, as characters, these bosses are lame, they do have, I do think the suits are really cool. They have great designs. They all look very badass. As opposed to the Pain or the Fear, where they are lame in every single respect. At this point of the fight, I don't think she ever hides again. She just constantly uses her gun. She's always just moving around attacking you from now on. So the fun part of the fight is kind of over at this point. Although, I don't really have a problem with just shooting her. I think it's entertaining. But the best part of the fight is obviously trying to find it. Did I miss? I don't think that did any damage. What? One more. Or maybe two. Although this is my final shot. Is that it? Ah, cool. That's Laughing Octopus. One of the best fights in the series, I think. I hate the cutscenes after you defeat every member of the Beauty and the Beast Corporation. I think they are just overly long. They're just really long and drawn out. They don't need to be. They could be over in like a minute, but Kojima decides to just stretch them out as much as possible. They just go on and on and on. I do tend to skip these cutscenes normally. I'm only watching it because I'm recording. Even when I'm beating the game and watching every single cutscene, I tend to just skip through these ones. I just find them really painful. It's really... they just drone on.
Octopus. An 8-legged beast.
At least when the Cobra unit died, their death scenes were over immediately.
Tentacles
Except for the Fury, of course.
are beyond my control. Their will is the will of the battlefield. Funny. So funny. It's all so funny. No, it's not funny. Nothing is funny. I shouldn't be laughing. I can't.
Those shots aren't subtle at all, are they?
The truth is, I'm not laughing. Not laughing at all.
All of these scenes when the bosses are outside of their suits, they always make me feel really awkward. I don't think it's the actresses, the voice acting or anything like that being bad. I think I guess it's supposed to be intentional. I guess you're supposed to feel uncomfortable.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry I laughed. I'm sorry. I won't laugh anymore. I can't. I don't want to.
I could go non-lethal here, but oh wait a minute. One thing I should do is grab the doll. Where, yeah, there is. So there's a Laughing Octopus doll. So every time you defeat the bosses in their suits non-lethally, basically a doll will spawn in their area right after. And if you collect all 4 of them, I think if I remember right, it unlocks a weapon which you can use on your second playthrough. I could defeat her non-lethally here, but it takes way too long. They do this weird thing where they dodge, and the tranquilizer gun takes way too long to take her out. The stun grenades actually defeat her pretty quickly, but I can't be bothered to switch to them. So I'm just going to kill her lethally to save time. Returning to the fetal position. That's deep. So deep. I hated it when they did that in Gravity as well. The movie Gravity with George Clooney, Sandra Bullock. There's a moment where she stops and she's floating in space and she crawls up into the fetal position. Just made me roll my eyes so hard. It's just like, oh my god. Subtle as a brick to the head.
Yo, Snake, looking good today.
Drebin, what do you want?
That's cold, man. And here I was about to tell my very best customer about face camo.
Face camo?
That camo skull cap you just picked up from Tentacle's shell. It utilizes the same kind of technology as your Octo camo suit. Using the two together can get you even better results. I'd hang on to it if I was you.
Doesn't fit. It's not my size or shape.
Yeah, looks like it could use a bit of tailoring before you can sport it. Not my line of work, but... Ain't you got a buddy who specializes in that kind of thing?
Somebody's done their homework.
Hey, it's my job.
Is that the real reason you injected me with those nanomachines? To spy on me?
I prefer the term customer data management myself.
Drebin.
Relax. It's strictly confidential. I ain't gonna share it with anybody.
Then what did you mix a virus in with the nanomachines for?
Virus?
A certain virus was detected in my body. Are you saying it wasn't in the nanomachines you injected?
Look, you do know there are other folks who could have done this to you. And besides, what would I gain from infecting you? Better for me that you're out there kicking ass on the battlefield. I was watching you, Snake. You're a real piece of work. Never thought I'd meet the man who could take down Laughing Octopus single-handedly. She just kept on laughing. Now why do you suppose that is?
Something in her past.
You got it. She's from a village in Scandinavia. Little seaside hamlet known to all the locals as the Devil's Village. Place wasn't known for devils, though. It was known for octopus. See, this was one of the few places in Europe where they ate octopus customarily. Anyway, there's this cult of crazies who for some reason hate the village with a passion. Then, when she was just a teenager, things get bad. These nutcases get their hands on some weapons and attack the village. Overnight, her sleepy little fishing town becomes a war zone. They round up all the villagers and execute them one by one. Except for that girl. They had something else planned for her. Something a whole lot worse than dying. Calling her the devil's child, they forced her to do the kind of thing you'd expect from one of Lucifer's own. After they made her torture her family and friends, they made her kill them. The whole time they were forcing her to laugh, howl like some sort of demon. Like she was enjoying it. What was she gonna do? Say no? They'd kill her too. So she let fear take control and did exactly as they told her. She butchered the bodies of the ones she loved and laughed while she did it. And as she bathed in their blood, it gradually turned from deep red to jet black. To her, it looked like the ink of an octopus. The experience scarred her deep. Ever since then, she hasn't stopped laughing. Only, that ain't really laughter.
Why are you telling me this? You expect me to feel sorry for her?
Nah. I know you got no room for that stuff in your world. And besides, this is war. Right? In a way, though, I guess it was the right thing to do.
What was?
Fighting you cleansed her mind. All right, enough chit-chat. There's other beasts out there in them woods. Watch your back.
I don't really like wearing the face camo. If you wear the face camo, Snake is also wearing it during the cutscenes, so I think it ruins. It's kind of like an MGS3 if you wear camo or face paint, which looks really silly, and it also appears in the cutscenes. And it kind of ruins the more dramatic, emotional cutscenes of the game. So I feel the same way about MGS4. I would prefer to be able to see Snake's actual face, rather than it being covered by the camo mask. Of course, wearing the mask does give you slightly higher camo, so it's slightly easier to sneak through the areas, since you blend into the environment a bit better. But I don't think it's worth it if it ruins the cutscenes. Oh, it doesn't have any camo, huh? I was shaking the controller to get rid of it then, I realised it was default.
Snake, have you lost sight of the target? Whenever something moves, it leaves a trail behind. Track and find Naomi's trail.
I'm not like Big Boss. Tracking isn't my strongest suit. When did you get so good at it?
After saving Sonny, I drifted around the globe. In Alaska, a tribal elder taught me some scouting techniques.
Drifted? You never went back to see Rose?
Rose? She doesn't exist. No. Rose and I live in different worlds, different times. Her world has no place for someone like me. My place is here on the battlefield.
Huh.
Listen, Snake. Scouting is based on the principles of hunting. There are two fundamentals: awareness and tracking.
Awareness?
Awareness refers to locating a trail by paying careful attention to your surroundings. Tracking means to follow that trail. Your target's trail could be footprints, a branch they broke along the way, bent grass trampled underfoot. You need to feel for clues using all your senses: sound, smell, touch, the direction of the wind. Watch how the animals move. Listen for unusual bird calls. These are signs that someone may be disrupting the environment nearby.
You sound like a ninja.
Exactly. Ninja are the ultimate scouts. If your enemy is a skilled scout, they'll be doing the same thing. You may be the hunter, but you are also the hunted. To avoid enemy detection, move slowly, little by little. Don't disturb the air around you. Try to make as little noise as possible. Your pursuers will be doing the same, trying to sneak up on you without a sound. If you can't pick up the trail with your naked eye, switch the solid eye to infrared mode. That will enable you to see Naomi's footprints and any enemies lying in ambush.
Switch the solid eye to infrared. Got it.
But the sound it makes while engaged could end up giving your position away. So don't leave it on for too long.
It's funny that he says that, because that was never a problem previously.
Trust your senses.
The sound of the solid eye never gave away your position to the enemies before this, so why is it now suddenly a problem? I guess you might be saying we were sneaking through busy, loud battlefields with explosions going off everywhere, so they wouldn't be able to hear it. But there were one or two areas we were sneaking through which were quiet. So I find it weird that it's only now becoming a problem. And this is the only area in the whole entire game where the enemies can hear the solid eye. I always thought that was just weird. So, as that codec is suggesting, at this point of the game, they do want you to kind of just stay, constantly look down at these footprints and try and examine which one is Naomi's footprints. I never bothered to do that. I think I tried to do it when I first played the game, but it was always leading. I could never figure out the correct one, so I ended up just ignoring the footprints. I ended up just running around, trying to just hoping, I just ended up running around hoping I would eventually come to the right place. So this whole entire area is basically laid out like a maze. There's a lot of dead ends. You can end up going around in circles if you take the wrong routes. But thankfully, I got the first half of the maze down in my head quite well, so I pretty much know where I'm going. But there are one or two cool, I'm not sure if you would call them Easter eggs or not, but there's one or two cool surprises along the way. So it is worth going into one or two dead ends just to see what they have in store.
You think that could be Naomi's?
Hang on a second.
Well, what's this doing here? Naomi.
This is one of the... I'm not too sure what is up with this. I guess they laid these clothes out here just to entice you. I guess it was supposed to be an ambush, a trap. What's going on here? I see. Can I see him? Or maybe we should just leave him to his devices. Yeah, I'll leave that dude alone. He's not hurting anybody, he's just hanging out.
Huh? Who's that?
Whoa, that was a close one. Now, if I go down there, I'm going to progress to the second half of the maze, but there is a cool Easter egg over here. This is one of my favourite Easter eggs.
Something happened to me last Thursday when I was driving home. I had a couple of miles to go. I looked up and saw a glowing orange object in the sky to the east. It was moving very irregularly. Suddenly, there was intense light all around me. When I came to, I was home.
Of course, that is the Patriots AI back towards the end of MGS2 in Arsenal gear. That's when the Colonel Patriot AI was talking about being abducted by aliens. Just a little throwback to that. So this is the second half of the maze. This is where I can never remember this part of the maze. I mean, for the first half of the maze, it was in my head quite well. I pretty much know all of the dead ends. And wow, I can't believe he can see me. Oh, it's a she, right? Those frog soldiers are female, I think. It sounds like it, at least. But I can remember the first half of the maze quite well, but this second half of the maze is where I have no idea. I just run around until I find the exit. I can never remember every single dead end and turn it off the top of my head. So the first half of the maze is pretty much straightforward, but this part it's got so many turn-ins, there's so many routes that just go around in circles, I can never remember all of it. When I'm in the general area of the exit, that's when my memory starts to come back and I start to remember. But that's only when I'm in the general area of the exit. So until then, I'm kind of just wandering around aimlessly, hoping I find it. Is that it? No? Yeah, it is. That's someone. Get them points. I'm pretty sure this is taking me towards the exit. I remember seeing this area a lot. I think they're setting up claymores by here as well. That guy by there was setting up a claymore. Yeah, it's right by there.
Must have gone separate ways here.
Are there any more guards around here? Okay, I think I'm getting in the general area of the exit now. This place is looking very familiar. Who saw me? Oh, there he is. He's coming over here. Oh, that guy has pretty good vision compared to the other enemies. I mean, the other soldiers I came across earlier, they couldn't even see me when I was standing right in front of them, so this guy is amazing in comparison. What's that, the third or fourth type of rifle I picked up now? There's so many different types. It's crazy. You're never going to use them all. Where's that guy again? Oh, right in front of me. Yeah, this is it, I think.
I'm noticing more footprints now. Security's getting.
It's the maze done with.
Could be getting.
I like how he still has the bullet wound, the scar on his head, from when Raiden shot him in MGS2, when the bullet was deflected off a Fortune. Oh, was that? That'd been when he shot him in the head when he was killing Emma. Well, both times Raiden shot him in the forehead, so could be either one.
As you wish, we'll begin shortly. Go ahead. Begin. We'll use his blood. It could get intense. Brace yourselves. Shots, all of you.
Yes, sir.
I'll be taking in.
Oh, I can't increase that. I think Snake's about to increase it with the needle in a moment.
The syringe! Snake!
stable enough yet.
Need a lift?
Drebin!
Get in already!
Naomi! Jump! Can you walk?
It's gonna be a bumpy ride!
Okay. Thanks.
Snake, I'm bringing the chopper.
I'm gonna go full lethal here as well. I know, of course, as I always say, for the most part, I play these games non-lethally, but when I get to sections like these, I just go full lethal. And this wasn't as hard as I thought it would be when I was doing a big boss run for the game, because of course you can't kill anyone doing a big boss run. And those guys who are walking up to me, those kind of zombie like PMCs, if you can't, I don't think you can trank them. If you try to trank them, then nothing happens because they're kind of being controlled by all these nanomachines nonsense. So trying to trank them doesn't do anything. But you can load your shotgun with a. I'm not sure. You load your shotgun with non-lethal rounds, so when they do climb up onto the truck, you can shoot them with the shotgun with the non-lethal rounds, and it knocks them backwards off of the truck. Because, of course, during this segment, you have to shoot the gecko as well as worrying about these zombie PMCs. So you have to doing a big boss run, you have to constantly alternate between shooting the gecko with that mounted machine gun, because the geckos don't count as a kill. So you have to alternate between shooting the gecko on the machine gun and then shooting the soldiers that climb onto the truck with a shotgun. Because when I first played this and I tried to imagine doing this non-lethally on a big boss run, I was thinking, man, that must be really tough. And then I actually did it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all. I mean, it was kind of annoying having to constantly, yeah. It's actually kind of annoying right now, to be honest. The fact that you have to keep alternating between the machine gun as well as shooting the guys climbing up the truck. But I just imagined it would be really tough on the big boss run, but nope, it was actually quite simple. The hardest part of the big boss run is easily Act 3 when you are on the motorbike. Easily the hardest part in the whole entire game. If that's the final gecko, can we move on? I'm actually not too fond of this. It's one of those parts where it's okay the first time you beat the game, but once you've beaten the game a bunch of times, it's one of those things which is kind of... I don't know, kind of tedious. I'm just sitting on the machine gun, just shooting everything that pops up. It's just... Once you've done it a bunch of times, it's just not that fun. And as I always say, the MGS games are at their best when you're being stealthy and sneaky. And that's all of the stealth done for Act 2. The rest of the act is just these set pieces. The act is actually pretty much over. Don't get me wrong, we've got quite a few cutscenes to sit through. But they are pretty cool cutscenes. We've got some great fight scenes coming up. And then we've got the dreaded Act 3, which is not very fun, let's say. I really do not like Act 3. I think most people hate it, so I'm not alone in this fault. I wonder if you shot those gates with a rocket launcher, if it would destroy them quicker. I've never tried it.
Get ready for some speed!
From this point onwards, you aren't really in any danger of dying. You can just... You don't even have to shoot anything at this point. Drebin is constantly moving, so... Right now I'm just shooting the gecko just for the sake of it. They aren't actually a threat at this point. This truck, even when you blow it up, is still driving as if somebody's piloting it. It's because there's this little scripted moment back here where Drebin rams it off the road.
Hang on! It's gonna get bumpy! Up front! Here they come!
I do prefer the chase scene towards the end of MGS3, when you're with Eva on the bike running away from the Shadow Horde. I think that's a lot more exciting than this one. Even the first time I played this game, I felt as if it was a lot more exciting. The chase sequence in MGS3. I do feel as if there's a lot more stuff going on in this one with all the gecko, the zombie PMCs and stuff like that. And the environment is a lot bigger, a lot more detailed, but still, I still prefer the chase sequence in MGS3, I feel. That's the end of the chase sequence though. Got one crazy cutscene now.
Come on, Naomi. Stay with me. Up you go. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I actually don't really like Raiden much in this game. A lot of people hated him in the MGS2, but in this one I felt as if Kojima was trying way too hard to make him really cool and badass. Don't get me wrong, these fight scenes that he has, they are really cool. The choreography is amazing. They are very well animated and everything. But as just the way he looks, the way he speaks, I just feel as if they're trying way too hard to make him cool. Like, they might as well just give him a fedora if they're gonna go this far.
Let's go.
Here they come!
Like, if they gave him a fedora, at least I would have thought they were self-aware. But they just try way too hard, I feel. But as I said, the fight scenes are still really cool. Although I've played the game a lot and watched the cutscenes a lot, I never once caught on to why Raiden is a cyborg ninja. I'm not sure if they ever explain it in the game, to be honest. I guess it's one of those things which might be explained in some novelization or something like that. Maybe they never explain it because it doesn't really need an explanation, I guess. He's just a ninja now because he is. I don't know. I always felt I was just always confused by it. And I'm almost certain they never explain it as well. I could be wrong. I'm sure people are going to go in the comments and tell me.
Snake. It's my turn to protect you.
Snake, I'm setting the chopper down at the market square. Hurry!
Naomi, go on ahead.
Basically, go on ahead because they didn't want this to be an escort mission. And I'm glad it's not. This is one thing I thought was really crazy for MGS. The fact that there's civilians, we are in an area populated by civilians and they are running around the place. I know you could interact with civilians in MGS2 when you were trying to rescue Ames in the big shell. Because a bunch of civilians were being held as hostages, of course. But there's never been a point in the games where you had a bunch of them running around in a populated area. So I thought that was really cool. Having said that, this sequence is incredibly short. And you got to watch out for their legs, the little sweep they do with their legs. It does so much damage to your health. This guy, I always bait him into swinging. Oh, didn't work out so well that time. But for this guy, I normally bait him and... Oh, it's still not working out. Don't sweep again. I'm getting pretty pissed off, to be honest. I'm just gonna roll. Yeah. That's what you should do, just roll into it. So even when he does hit you, because that's the end of the area, it doesn't count. And they just trigger the cutscene. But I swear to God, sometimes, or at least I used to bait him into sweeping his leg. So I would bait him into swinging the leg so he would miss and then I would roll in. I think that's what I do sometimes. Alternatively, as I just demonstrated, you can just roll anyway. And it triggers the cutscene.
Thank you.
Don't forget the Mark II.
Naomi, take care of this. Otacon, get us out of here.
Where's Raiden?
Still fighting.